As many of you have probably seen, there's a YouTuber named Goatmoth who made a video called The Wiggle That Killed Tarkov. And as of now, it's over 1.5 million views. In this 42-minute video, he demonstrates a type of cheating called ESP, which stands for Extrasensory Perception, which is the ability to see enemies that you shouldn't be able to, aka wall hacks. He buys the cheat and he uses it with a new account, runs some experiments to suss out other cheaters, and basically comes to the conclusion that he's able to find cheaters by wiggling at them through walls and seeing whether or not they wiggle back. Now, since that video came out, I have had endless amounts of people coming to my chat to ask me if I have seen the video or what my thoughts are on the video. Initially, I was hesitant to say anything at all because some people were suggesting that the video promotes or encourages people to cheat, and I didn't really want to bring more attention to it than it has already received. I also have this imposter syndrome thing with YouTube where I just assume that someone like Pestily or Lupo is going to say everything that needs to be said and that I don't need to add my voice to the cacophony of other voices on YouTube, but that doesn't make me a very good YouTuber now, does it? Anyways, I realized that if someone is so mentally weak and insecure that they're going to cheat in a video game, they're probably going to do it no matter what we say, so a YouTube video isn't really going to change that. So here we are, and I've had some time to collect my thoughts on the video. First, I would have really liked to see more statistical information rather than just 20 minutes of demonstrating the cheats and then 20 minutes of interviewing someone. He does say that about 60% of his raids, he had people where he thought they were cheating, but I think it's dangerous for one person to make that assumption from their limited perspective without having all of the facts. Of course, when he's wiggling at someone and they wiggle back at him, or they outright admit that they're cheating to him in the voice, it's pretty clear. But he even had to amend the video description because one of the people in the video isn't a cheater. So what if someone had a thermal sight and shot him through a tree and he just assumed they were cheating? He says that he ran about 125 raids, which means that about 75 of them had cheaters. He does say that he didn't run into any flying hackers, invincibility hackers, speed hackers, and that he was very rarely aimbotted. I would guess that people are less likely to use these cheats because they're so much more obvious than wall hacks, but that's just a theory. He claims that more players in a lobby or a more full lobby almost guarantees that a cheater is in the raid, but that makes sense because more people in the lobby means more chance of there being a cheater. He also said evening raids in real time had more cheaters, but I'm not sure where he's located. I'm guessing North America. I would have liked to know if he tried running different servers or if he was just running the same servers, if he tried running different servers at different times of day, that sort of thing. I would also love to see data on what maps he ran and if there were more cheaters on certain maps, but with 9 maps and only 125 raids, he could have only run each map about 13 times. Actually, something I just realized is that he probably didn't run labs at all because he started all this on a brand new account. He only reached level 13, and Therapist only sells the lab cards at loyalty level 4. I'm not sure if he tried factory either. So this skews the data a bit. He could have run the remaining 7 maps about 17 or 18 times each, but that's still a really small data set. Basically, I just wanted more out of the video because 125 raids is time consuming, but it's a very, very small data set when you split it amongst all the maps, different times of day, and different servers. He also mentions that when you're playing against normal players, they don't ever look at you like this on the radar. And I would have loved a side-by-side comparison to demonstrate what it looks like when you have a normal player on the radar versus a suspected cheater. I think it's cool in general that he made the video because it was very eye-opening for me and for a lot of other people. I don't think anyone was necessarily shocked because, like, we know there's a lot of cheaters in Tarkov, but it was interesting to see, and I don't want it to sound like I'm hating on him for making the video. I just think that it could have been done better, and personally I would have loved a bigger sample size of data and more information. Now, switching topics a little bit, it has been very interesting to me to see the community sentiment around this video, and I kind of laughed about it to myself because it seems like a few weeks ago, if I ever accused someone of cheating in Tarkov, then I would get a bunch of people saying like,
streamers just think everyone's cheating, maybe you're just shit.
And now everyone's like, well,
60%.
And there are actually people who are pissed that they think streamers are downplaying the amount of cheaters in Tarkov. So first streamers thought that too many people were cheating, and now we aren't willing to admit that there are cheaters. Got it. Personally, I have absolutely not had the experience where I felt that 60% of my several thousand raids have had cheaters. I think I've only died to about maximum 30 cheaters since I started playing 3 years ago. However, someone with ESP will be a lot more subtle than a flying cheater or aimbotting or whatever, so it's very possible that there were more cheaters than I realized. That's not really the point. I don't want anyone to think that I'm sticking up for Battlestate. I know that my personal experience suffers from confirmation bias, just like Goatmoth's video does. I think the bigger question is, what can Battlestate do better? Battlestate tweeted out that they banned several thousand cheaters recently, and they've started posting a spreadsheet with the names of people who were cheating. Honestly, I don't really get the point of this, other than to allow people to search if someone sus they died to was actually a cheater. There are a ton of TTV names, and it's important to keep in mind that they're probably not even streamers. They're just trying to make it look like well-known streamers are cheating or something like that. People have been debating what Battlestate can do to get rid of cheaters quicker, and I wanted to note a few things on that. From my experience in the past with Rainbow Six Siege, and talking with devs about cheaters, it's not always as simple as just ban someone when you know they're cheating. Sometimes game devs will allow cheaters to continue playing while they gather data on the cheater and use them to find other cheaters, or even to combat the specific cheats that they're using. Now, from a player perspective, it sucks because you know that the cheaters are just zooming around, stealing all the loot, and it feels like the devs are just sitting it back and letting it happen. I'm personally of the opinion that a better anti-cheat would be nice, but that you will simply never be able to completely get rid of cheaters in a game. You should focus on building additional features for your honest players to offset the frustration of dying to cheaters. I've had this idea for a few years, and I know that other streamers have talked about it in the past as well. To take R6 as an example again, if you lose a game to a cheater who is later banned, that game is essentially nullified and you get all your points back. All your MMR just gets reset, as if that game never happened. Tarkov is a much more complex game, of course, but I think a restitution system could still be done. For example, let's say you go into a raid, you die to a cheater, and they're later banned. I think Battlestate could then grant you your gear back in your insurance. Obviously, that doesn't make up for the lost loot, lost task progress, and lost time, but it would make the feeling of dying to a cheater a little less painful, knowing that at the very least, you will get something back. They have the names of the cheaters, they should be able to track who the cheaters killed, they have the data on what gear you were wearing because they use it for the insurance system already. It shouldn't be impossible to do. This could be especially relieving to honest players because you're often targeted by cheaters if you're using your better gear, like higher tier armor and thermal sights. It's so much more painful dying to a cheater when you finally decided to break out your best gear. I just want to interject for a second because I'm sure there will be someone who says,
But someone will be able to abuse the system.
You can say that about any system in any video game that's designed to combat cheaters or systems like RMT. Cheaters and griefers will always exist in video games, and yes, they will always try to find a cheap way to play the game besides just playing it like a normal person. I don't want to make this video too long, and I don't want to spend a lot of time detailing how they could safeguard the system, other than to say that I believe that there are ways to design it which would mitigate abuse as much as possible. Obviously, in an ideal world, they would be able to do more to combat cheaters, and I won't pretend that I know the best ways to handle this because I'm not a game developer. But I think the general sentiment is that they need to do more, because the player base is losing faith in their ability to safeguard an honest player's experience. When you start losing your community's trust, it is extremely hard to win it back. Losing loot sucks, but losing faith in the developers of your favorite game and losing your time spent playing that game to a negative experience like dying to a cheater is a quick way to get people to uninstall and move on to other games. One of the things I love most about Tarkov is that the stakes always feel so high, but that makes dying to a cheater or desync, which often feels like cheating even if it's just the servers being shit, is one of the most heartbreaking, deflating experiences I've had in a video game. Anyway, there's been a ton of conversations stirred up by this video, which I think is great for the community. I wanted to collect my 2 cents in one spot for the people asking for my perspective. And I think the summary is just that if you're pissed about all the cheaters and you feel like it's ruining your experience, vote with your time and stop playing Tarkov. If they don't productively react to this huge upwelling of conversation around cheating in Tarkov, then the only thing you can really do is show Battlestate that they're going to lose their players if they don't do something fast. I think cheaters suck. My personal experience hasn't been bad enough for me to want to stop playing. What's pushing me to want to stop recently is the number of desync deaths I've had and the shitty audio, which is still extremely broken months into the wipe. And I don't want people to stop playing Tarkov. I love Tarkov. I love the game itself, and when it works and you don't die to cheaters, it is a completely unique experience in the video game world. But if you are mad enough about the situation and you're dying to cheaters more than you can handle, then yelling at streamers or Battlestate on Twitter isn't the best use of your time. I really want to emphasize that I don't want people to quit Tarkov. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying here as a callous reaction, urging people to just quit if you don't like it. I want nothing more than for Battlestate to make it more difficult for cheaters to play and a better experience for honest players like you and I. We've paid for the game and we deserve a good experience because Tarkov would not exist in its current state without players like us beta testing it all these years. I just want to encourage you to value your time and to act in a way which will hopefully force them to do something more than what they've been doing to combat cheaters the past couple of years because it's clearly not working well enough. Take a break from the game until Battlestate makes it a better experience for everyone, which I hope they do, sooner rather than later. Anyways, good luck out there. Happy raiding.